I've really grown because I really thought about eating a popsicle. I was recording, but I was like, let me finish the popsicle first and then get on recording. It's not this type of. I can't be doing that for free and just cause. This background is really pretty. I like all the little purple hues. I like a lot of the background. I just don't bring it up all the time because there's like this thing that when you bring up artists' work, they're like, no, it's not good. It's actually it's like I don't want to hear it. It's good. I like it. I'm satisfied. So there. Shizu took a deep breath, savoring the cool night air. As she walked along the still village paths, listening to the trees rustling and the insects calling, memories from long ago bubbled to the surface. It really does remind me of Pasito. Well, Fuyu would have wrenched my ear off if I stayed out this late by myself, though. Oh. Upon reaching the edge of the town, she looked around. Just after midnight, but no signs of nightmares yet. The golems that I set up to patrol haven't seen anything either. Wait. A faint cracking sound pierced the air. Shizu lowered her stance and crept around the back of the house to her right. There. The nightmare continued to pawing at the splintered remnants of the wheelbarrow, rolling the logs of firewood around almost playfully. It didn't look in her direction. Shizu continued to observe, pressing herself against the side of the house and staying as still as possible. There really was one. Where did it come from? There were no traces of it anywhere when we looked before. And how did it get past the barriers? They were perfect. Liam and I both checked them. The monster wasn't massive. It was about the size of a large dog. I could probably take care of it myself. But Liam will throw a fit if I don't tell him. She took the link stone from her around her neck and tapped it before whispering, Liam, wake up. There was a rustling on the other end, followed by a groggy voice. Sleepy man voice, love it. You found one, or just wanted to hear my voice? Not him not him getting me to giggle. I hate him. I hate men who do this to me. Fuck you. The delivery of that joke was completely off. South entrance as a small one, though. I'll be there. Wait for me. I will wait for you. No need to rush over, sleepyhead. She cut the line before reaching into her bag and flicking one of the stones into the ground by her feet. Moments later, a large golem leaped out, awaiting her command. First things first, I need to get it away from the village. Shizu walked quietly but calmly around the nightmare until she was on the side of the road leading onto the village. The golem trundled obediently behind her. With a wave of her arm, she sent 5 arrows of flame hurtling towards the monster. The first 2 hit, embedding themselves into the nightmare's flank. It growled, swatting the remaining 3 away before turning towards Shizu. As the creature approached, Shizu slowly retreated backwards, keeping the golem in front of her. The monster lunged. She threw herself to the side, slapping the ground. A spire of earth erupted, impaling the beast through the chest. For a few moments, the nightmare twitched, limbs flailing before exploding into a black cloud. Shizu stood up, brushing dirt off her skirt. Not so. She dodged to the side, just as a pair of claws hissed past her ear. Another one? The golem threw itself at the newcomer, giving Shizu a second to look around. Another one to the right, and one behind. 3 of them? Where are they all coming from? This might be a bit tough. However, just as she was preparing to cast another spell, a silver blur whooshed past her, smoothly cleaving through the nightmare to her right before spearing the one gnawing on the golem's arm. I told you to wait. I mean, she had it. But also sweaty Leo, hello. He barely squeezed out his complaint between haggard breaths. His collar was askew, and even in the moonlight, Shizu could tell that his face was red. Why didn't you wait for me? I told you. Couldn't be helped. It attacked me. You liar. Where's the last one? There were 3 of them. Despite the grievances, Liam didn't have the energy to gripe. He stuck his blade back into the scabbard and placed both hands on his knees, catching his breath. It ran away. We'll have to chase it. Hurry up, then. As Liam withdrew his blade from the ink-black corpse, he groaned. Think that was the only one? It better be. It took us all night to find the blasted thing. The sun's about to rise. She snapped her fingers. A large golem trundled toward them from the western end of the village, eliciting some shocked gasps from the villagers who were getting an early start to their day. Yeah, that would be something to wake up to. Liam scrutinized the golem's face before jabbing a thumb towards it. Look, okay, it's going, but look how cute they are. See, I'm prettier than Fuyumi, aren't I? Hey! Don't say that to Fuyumi. Oh, and also she named the golems after her siblings. It's kind of sad. If that'll make you feel better about yourself, I'll take that as a yes. By the way, I was wondering, why are all the golems so plain? They barely have faces. Why not give them some fancy flourishes or intricate design? This is He could be insulting you, Chatter. This is like, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you draw more? Does it matter? Appearance doesn't affect the function, and adding in unnecessary embellishments would just complicate the creation process. And are you one to talk? Lord will wear whatever is clean and also fits. Me. How could you say that? He feigned indignation. Well, that is true, but even I regularly give Brahma a good polish. Your golems are your pride. It would be good if people recognized how impressive they were at first glance. Liam gave Fuyumi an affectionate pat on the shoulder. Aw, don't you feel bad? I'm sure that Fuyumi wants to be pretty too. Just look at her. She is pretty. She doesn't really care about that sort of thing. Oh, her sister when she was getting dressed up in makeup. The fucking fragment of the past. See, if you don't engage with those, you're not going to pick up on this shit. Well, sometimes I guess she cared sometimes. Oh, not the sad. Not the sad. Shizu lapsed into a long silence. Liam, look what you did. He didn't do it. I was just thinking about it some more, and actually, I would be awfully disappointed if you changed how they look. The simplicity is part of the appeal. They look so charming the way they are right now. Not him backstepping. Right. Oh. Now that's done, we can report the incident and be our way. What do you think about visiting Karam on the way back? I know a hotel there that serves the best seafood. Alright. Office of Defense. We'd like to report a nightmare sighting. A couple, actually. Danger class ones. They appeared near Kikatum. They caused some damage to the fields and farming equipment before we killed them. As Liam conversed with the receptionist, Shizu looked idly around the office. If left unchecked, nightmares could easily grow in size until they were capable of wiping out even the largest cities. 4 generations ago, the capital of Favamere had been decimated by a single nightmare. Consequently, almost all the major cities and towns had an office of defense, where citizens came to file reports of the nightmare sightings. Nightmare attacks were classified into 5 categories: danger, emergency, disaster, catastrophe, and calamity. Minor, danger class incidents could be handled by the nobles in charge of the local region. However, more serious emergency or disaster class nightmares would be classed along the Dusselhasses, and catastrophe or calamity threats can only be dealt with by the regiments operating under the royal family. The office was strangely busy when the pair had arrived. 10 people were in line in front of them, and by the time they reached the front end, another 15 had queued behind them. It's like the DMV, but for nightmare attacks. Shizu's eyes wandered over the woman sitting at a large desk at the back of the office. Past the reception desk, 2 piles of paper and stamps sat in front of her. One pile contained 2 or 3 sheets of paper at most, while the other was thick as a loaf of bread. When she received a report from another receptionist, she quickly scanned it before tossing it on the thicker pile without stamping it. Is she doing what I think she's doing? And tell the noble in charge to keep a better eye on the mages in his employ. The barriers around Kikatum were the complete mess. We redid them in the standard style. I will make a note. The man stood and brought the report to the woman in the back before returning. He bowed. Thank you very much for your report. Is there anything else I can do for you? Shizu watched the woman in the back as she read through the report and then placed it into a pile without stamping it. Excuse me, but could you tell us about the reports of the nightmare sightings from the area around Kikatum from the past year or so? Of course, right away. He vanished into the back room and appeared a few moments later. I don't have any records for recent nightmare sightings in that region. The last report was from 6 years ago. 2 danger class nightmares attacked a merchant near Rabu. That's impossible. We spoke with villagers in Kikatum, and they verified that over a dozen attacks have occurred in the past 6 months alone. They said that they filed a report every time, so how could there be no report? There are no records. That is not every report. I noticed that when you accepted our report, you handed it to the woman in the back. Why is she separating the reports? We were told to avoid filing unnecessary paperwork. What does that mean? What's unnecessary paperwork? As you can see, the office is very busy. As a result, we were told that our job is to filter the reports and only inform the Baron about... okay. The Baron about attacks that actually merit attention. Our supervisor assesses the severity of the attack described and decides whether the report should be included in the official filings. And the ones that aren't included, they're just discarded? That's correct. Pardon? You were told to do this? By whom? Your supervisor? Yes, but she was told to do so by the Baron. Yeah, I had a feeling. So this decision goes all the way up. Of course it does. Liam rubbed his chin. If I recall, the Baron around these parts would be Baron Paget. Outside Baron Paget's manor. I love Shizu's face. She's like, I'm going to beat him. Do it, girl. Do it. Outside the gates of the manor, Shizu threw her arms apart and exploded into an uncontrolled rant. Let's go, rant. That insufferable. Did he even listen to the things that were coming out of his mouth? When the Baron wasn't lying through his teeth, he was just spouting nonsense. He told the office to trim the official filings because there were too many false reports. How does he know that if it doesn't investigate them? Any incident or sighting should be recorded and checked. Even if the nightmares are small or weak, they could grow stronger over time or indicate the presence of more powerful nightmares nearby. You can't arbitrarily assign a severity level based on verbal testimony alone. He's been doing everything in his power to protect all of his citizens. If that's the case, then why are there so many nightmare attacks? Why is the defense of his territory so horrid? I wonder. No, we know what it is. Also, I'm looking at Liam's thighs and I'm looking. Do you think he's doing it on purpose? What do you mean? My family oversees the defense of the entirety of Favermere, and we're directly responsible for the security of many of its major cities. I have some familiarity with the costs and the logistics. Defense isn't cheap, but the Baron should be able to manage the protection of his territory with ease, given its size and his resources. And think about the difference in the equality of the barriers between Rabu and Kikatum. The former looked like it had been made just like last week. The other looked like someone had given up making it halfway through a year ago. Rabu and Kikatum are close. Any mage that visited Rabu to reinforce its barriers should have visited Kikatum on the same trip. So what if the Baron is discriminating against some villages on purpose? In that case, that shoddy barrier work that we saw in Kikatum would make sense. It was bots with intent. Why would he do that? Racism. Or all kinds of other reasons. Hirano's mother mentioned it, didn't she? Their tax payments have increased because of the increasing severity of the nightmare attacks. And yet, strangely, none of the villagers are complaining, because they've been seeing a lot more nightmares lately. They assume that the Baron's demands increase to pay for the cost. None of the villagers know the magic. They just see the knights and mages come around and assume that the Baron is doing all he can to defend them. That's right. The Baron scrimps on the defense for the poor villagers, just doing the bare minimum to prevent major tragedies. In doing so, he's able to keep some money for himself. He also gives the villagers a very good reason to pay increasing taxes that they... Like, it is just so like humanity to just be like, oh yeah, we've got nightmares and we've got to protect people. Let's make a quick buck out of it. Capitalism really does ruin everything. That would explain why he instructed the defense office to purposely leave reports out of the record. If the reported incidents became too severe, then either the Duke or the royal family would be forced to intervene. The Baron would lose revenue and would have to contribute additional funding to the subjugation effort on top of that. He equips them with subpar barriers and leaves nightmares roaming around their fields so that they don't have any choice but to try and keep up with the payments. In short, pay him or die. Yeah. Isn't that breaking the law? It is, but this is a silly thing to do. Let's arrest him. Yeah, fuck it. Let's arrest him. He's practically orchestrating the slaughter of his own citizens. And you could probably prove it. Even if he did break the law, the Baron is a noble. Indicating nobles of any kind on a crime is extremely difficult, but not impossible. Near impossible high up in the ranks. The royal family and the ducal houses are basically immune from punishment altogether. The royal family can't do anything? You can't do anything? I don't think we should put this on Liam. You know, like, he's helping. The royal family can't do anything? They could, in theory. In reality, they wouldn't. Yeah. All of the lesser nobles are under the direct commands of one of the four dukes. If the king cast judgment on noble personally, that would disrespect the authority of the duke in charge. The royal family does stand at the top of the mountain, but that doesn't mean they're willing to unnecessarily antagonize any of the ducal houses. There's only one person that could possibly judge the Baron. Shizu grimaced. Him. It's Hugh, isn't it? Whenever I come here, I can scarcely believe this city is real. As they entered the city, Shizu squinted her eyes. The dazzling white buildings and gold ornamentation nearly blinded her. Karum. If a person tried to describe the word perfect, they would probably just point to a picture of Polister's capital city. Karum. That's a nice way to write it. Karum frequently topped the list of Actala's most highly recommended vacation destinations, only sometimes losing to Meralt, and on the very rare occasion to Lukwa, if the reviewer was particularly enthusiastic about seafood. Liam shrugged. I can't argue with that. Whenever people are talking about the current capital fashions or the outcome of the latest tournament, they always gloat about how they just came back from Karam, or how they're planning a trip there. A lot of nobles flit between their homes in Meralt and Karam, and they barely show their faces around their home territories at all. I heard that they leave most of the mundane drudgery to their subordinates. The entire city looks like it came straight from the pages of a fairy tale. Everything is so clean and white, even the cobblestones glitter like jewels. I don't think their praise could be more lavish even if the entire place was paved in gold. Saying it's like a fairy tale isn't exactly an exaggeration. The city's beautiful. Although, if we're talking strictly wealth, then Favermore is more prosperous than Polster, isn't it? It's the gateway to all the overseas trade. No other territory in the kingdom really compares. That's true. I'm fairly certain that if we compared money piles, then my father's would be taller than the Duke Rosberg. But the Archduke is surprisingly stingy. He doesn't spend nearly as much time on things like city decor. Duke Rosberg must be hemorrhaging gold to keep the place this immaculate. Luca is pretty, but it doesn't look anywhere near this good, and it's a few decades younger than Karam. Come on, the Duke's estate is over there. Rose Garden at the Castle La Curva. Who is this? I see. I was not aware. Thank you for bringing this matter to my attention. My humble apologies for allowing such a problem to arise in my domain. Pollister is so vast and populous that it is simply impossible to keep track of the minutiae? Minutiae? Of course, I'll ensure that the Baron Paget is more attentive to his administrative duties in the future. Duke Rosberg, Baron Paget, wasn't simply careless in improper administration. We believe that he purposely neglected to protect destitute communities from nightmare attacks as a way of pressuring them to pay unreasonable taxes. He broke the law and he should be penalized. Broke the law? How so? Shizu attempted to quell the rise in her voice. He very clearly broke the law. I don't think it even demands an explanation. Nobles are given the right to collect taxes, and as a result, they have certain responsibilities. They are bound by law to protect the citizens on their lands from nightmares. The Baron failed to do that. That is true. Nobles are bound to protect their citizens to the best of their ability. From my records, the Baron spared no expense in fortifying his territory from nightmares. However, the attacks were simply much more serious than he had forecast. And then he purposely failed to notify the capital. If he had, then the king would have sent the hero to suppress the nightmare activity. Instead, he allowed the problem to worsen and then used greater defense budget as an excuse to drive the people in his domain to pay taxes that they couldn't afford. Certainly, I agree, he neglected to inform the capital. Such carelessness certainly deserves a warning, but anything beyond that seems like it would be excessively punitive, and you're a fucking moron. Punishing the man for knowingly allowing his citizens to die would be excessive? Forgive my rudeness, but perhaps the Lady Aegis is being a bit presumptuous? Not this talking down. I have complete faith in my vassals. I would never assume the Baron Paget's actions were out of malice. As far as I can tell, the Baron's only crime is failing to submit the appropriate paperwork. Okay, but that's still fucking bad if it leads to people dying, dumbass. You're really, he's, he's strawmanning it. He's just picking one thing out of it. He's like, well, it's not that bad. Duke Rosberg, I believe that the Lady Aegis's assertions aren't baseless. If nothing else, the Baron's management of his territory is dubious enough to merit an investigation. True. The Duke turned a polite smile to the silver-haired young man. Of course, I hold the Honorable Lord Encys's opinions in my high esteem. Shut the fuck up! I'm gonna beat you within a life. I will supervise my vassals closely in the future and ensure that they are serving our citizenry to the best of their ability. Supervise them more closely? What exactly? You have my gratitude, Duke Rosberg. It's been such a long time since you paid me a visit at my estate, Lord Encis. Might I offer you some refreshments or show you around the garden? We have some No. My man. Stop. Thank you for your kind offer, but we have a long trip back to the capital. We must be going. Yeah, turn him down. Regum Castle. The return to Meralt was quiet. Liam escorted Shizu back to the castle. While she did not see the necessity in it, she did not object either. Before walking down the corridor to her quarters, Shizu paused before deciding to finally break the silence. You know that he was spouting a load of drivel, don't you? Of course I do. He was telling me what I wanted to hear so we would drop the issue. He has no intention of doing anything. So you don't need to tell me. I already know. Are you mad? Fuming! Why would I be mad? I'm a little mad. No, I'm a little mad. I am mad. I am mad. If you knew that he was just placating you, then why did you thank him? Why did you leave? You should have backed me up. Your word is a lot more convincing than mine. If you had been more adamant, then maybe we could have persuaded him. Yeah, my word is more convincing. I have my family and my name behind me. But that's exactly why I can't do whatever I want. What did you expect me to do? Pick a fight with the Duke Rosberg? I would be involving my whole family, our vassals, our citizens. I can't just go around antagonizing one of the most powerful men in the kingdom on a whim. At any rate, I doubt that the Duke would have been persuaded, no matter what. After all, if a noble under his supervision makes more money, he makes more money. Shady practices like these only benefit him. He's able to extract more taxes from the citizen of Polster without getting his own hands dirty. He's probably willfully ignorant. I doubt that Baron Paget is the only noble whose crimes are swept under the rug. So what do we do? What can we do? There's Lord Encis? Liam and Shizu looked up in unison to see a man with gray-streaked hair, wearing a neat silver and blue uniform with the Bragan's snowflake crest on the label. The man bowed. The Archduke requests your presence. Oh god, not Dad. If he's hot. As they stopped in front of the desk, he's a little too far away for me to tell. In front of the desk, Liam bowed before neatly folding his hands behind his back. Good day, Father. Shizu curtsied. Good day, Archduke Bregan. The Archduke remained silent, continuing to peruse the page in his hand. He's mad. They waited. Shizu snuck a peek at Liam out of the corner of her eye, but his face was stony and he didn't move. Shizu had only encountered the Archduke on a few brief occasions. She could count the number of sentences she had shared with him on one hand. Save for a few wrinkles and a slightly more gaunt face, Liam's father could have seen his son's reflection in a mirror. They even had some of the same mannerisms. However, everything more than skin deep could have been more different. After reaching the end of the page, the Archduke removed it and placed it on the desk on top of the pile of reviewing documents. As he spoke, he ran a finger along the side of the stack, straightening the edges. Okay, he's a bit hot. But he's probably an asshole. I trust that you know why I summoned you? I do not. You've been absent for days. I had some urgent business. I heard about your urgent business from Rosberg. He didn't elaborate. Instead, he just stared at his son with eyes as hard and pale as ice. My deepest apologies. The Archduke's gaze flicked over Shizu briefly. I overlooked your dalliances, but try not to let your thirst to impress cloud your judgment. I have a little don't let your thirst cloud your judgment. I have little time to attend to your messes. It was my misjudgment. I overstepped. It will not happen again. I don't want to get Liam in trouble. We're probably not going to get through the Archduke. He's right. Like, in pressing, it's just going to make things worse. So we should probably just find another solution. Let's just stay silent. The Archduke waved a hand. Spare me the tired, recitations. That said, William, you missed all the appointments I arranged for you. They will be rescheduled. As they should. As they should be. Humor them, but don't encourage them too much. You've been far too amicable. I've already received several follow-up meeting requests. It's a bother constructing cordial refusals. I will endeavor to do so. The Archduke's eyes narrowed and his lips pursed. Yes, do your best. That is what you always do, after all. The best that you can do. His eyes returned to the stack of the papers in his hand. And tell your mother to stop arranging her own marriage meetings for you. That woman never ceases to be a thorn in my side. Shut the fuck up. Must I tell you to leave as well? Liam bowed. Please excuse us. Yeah, we're not getting through to that fucking dickhead. Liam ran a hand through his hair and sighed. Shizu, I'm so... He swallowed the apology. Thanks for coming with me, even with everything that happened. Don't thank me. I wanted to go as much as you. Liam opened his mouth to say something, but he reconsidered. Instead, he tried to grin before departing. A happy announcement! Chapter 6. Okay. That one kind of ended a little like, what, but we're here, so let's see. The Empyrean Gardens. Although the Goyle Rala was what I was about to say. The Goyle. Although the Royal Gala took place near the tail end of the social season, there was still a good number of nobles in the attendance. In fact, Shizu discerned quite a few places that she had not seen at the award ceremony as a couple of weeks prior. The Royal Gala had been an annual event in the past, but 9 years ago it had been indefinitely postponed. At the time, the festive, lavish affair had caused no end to discontent from a general populace beset by nightmare attacks. Now that the hero's journey had come to a close, the gala could be safely revived with less fear of public backlash. During the 2-week preparation, mages had toiled to transform the Empyrean Gardens into a dazzling collection of illusions. Glowing fairies, butterflies, and birds fitted between the manicured hedges and the flower bushes. The gala attendees were dressed to perfection in clothes that could only have been procured specifically for the occasion. Shizu sighed a breath of relief before straightening her gloves and smoothing her skirt. She had not invested a good amount of money and several trips to the capital for nothing. Now what should we do? Should I do? Where's Liam? Where's Liam? We are Team Liam at the moment, alright? They mentioned that he would, where's Liam? Where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh, that was quick. Liam was conversing with a noble woman. No! That's okay. Relax. Noble woman in a blue gown adorned with a generous amount of pearls. Shizu recognized her from a few times they had met at the Bregan estate in Lukua. She waited to the side as Liam bid the woman farewell before sneaking behind and tapping him on the shoulder. Oh, he looks so handsome. And what might your name be, my lady? Are you perhaps the elusive princess from a faraway island nation renowned all over the world for her beauty? Oh, stop it! He took her hand and bowed his hand to kiss it. However, he only made it through halfway there before he choked from laughter at his own joke. Huh? Me laughing at all my own jokes? So funny. You know who I am. Could it be Shizu? Incredible. I could barely recognize you. I want to see her. I want to see her. Something about you looks different. Very different. Same to you. What is it? Liam appraised Shizu, forming a fake monocle with his finger and examining her from top to bottom. Oh, I know. He snapped his fingers. It's the dark. It's hiding the permanent furrow in your brows. Your face looks so round and soft without it, just like a baby. Don't call me a baby. I want to compliment him, but we're being playful right now. Give a snappy retort. Well, I could barely recognize you either. This is the first time that I've seen you in clothes this clean. It wasn't a complete exaggeration. When they were questing, it was difficult to keep their clothes free of dirt and bloodstains. The clothes that Liam currently wore were pristine. Oh no, should I go take a thumble around in the grass, get back some of my signature look? Maybe. Might not be a bad idea, yeah. Caesar giggled softly before quieting. Do you think I should smile more? Is her hair up? I'm gonna cry. Liam gave her a quizzical look. What's this coming from? I was joking. Well, you know, it's not the joke when we were questing together. Lots of things happen. People would seek you out and give you a message to give to me, or they would come into my tent looking bothered and then look happier when they saw you were there, and, well, lots of things like that. It didn't bother me that much, but, you know. Well, I won't tell you that you shouldn't smile more. But as for me, I kind of like the way you are now. You only smile when you want to smile, and finding one is a little like digging for treasure. Stop! That's so fucking cute. Stop. Stop. Sir, you've crossed the line. Don't grin. It's fun. Glad that you find... Oh, her hair is up. Glad that you find me such a great source of entertainment. It's not as if I go out of my way to smile. Either. People come talk to me because they want a brown nose or because they know I'm a buffoon. I don't smile nearly this much when you aren't around. Oh. Ah! Besides, that's what makes us such a great team. I bring the friendly face and you bring the competent mind. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Shut up, Liam. Stop stealing the words out of my fucking mouth. If you put on a friendly face too, then you won't need me anymore. Brazen of you to assume that I need you currently. Ow, don't divorce me like this, I beg you. He clutched his chest in pain. William, I have someone that I want you to meet. She's as much of a fanatic about swordsmanship as you are. You'll like her. The woman in the blue pearl-laden dress returned. A younger woman stood behind her, peeking at Liam. He mouthed an apology at Sizu. Oh, before smiling politely at the young woman. Oh, could this be the daughter of Earl Shurston? It's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. I've heard so much about you from my mother. Suzu nodded before ducking out of the conversation. Seems like Liam's parents are fighting over who can introduce more marriage candidates to him. Something's going on over there. Some kind of show? A small crowd of partygoers were clustered near one of the stone walls. A dull orange flicker was visible in the gaps between the onlookers. Shizu walked over and peered through. This is so pretty. The orange light wasn't a show. It was a real fire. I don't know if you do this on purpose, but you do a good job at it of, like, planning locations in which you can, like, find ways to animate them in, like, an interesting way. Like, you don't always do it, but, like, it definitely helps, and, like, it's smart to do it that way. Two men were standing, surrounded by a ring of flames. Lord Silva... I don't care! Loomed over Duke Duval, whose back was pressed against the wall. It wasn't our fault. He was treated the same as any other convict under our supervision. He must have had some medical condition. We can't possibly be held possible for his pre-existing illness. When his health took a turn for the worse, we did everything we could to care for him, even though we had no responsibility to demonstrate such mercy to a criminal. We showed him utter compassion and generosity considering the magnitude of his crimes. Don't give me that tripe. His parents told me that he was the image of perfect health. 2 weeks of your care did this to him. And he was a criminal since when? He was a suspect. You had no evidence. He confessed. Oh, he confessed? Under what circumstances? Maybe you encouraged him? I wonder what you did to him. I wonder what you did to that boy, who wasn't even 20 years old. I wonder if it was worse than what I can do to you. Should we see? He's such an edgelord! I'll see to it that the family is compensated for their loss. Even though we are in no way responsible, the Zufall house is very generous, and... Lord Silva grit his teeth, sending an errant spark flying in the Duke's direction. The Duke flinched. Generously, they will be compensated generously. Compensation? That's your idea of making amends? Money? You think that the boy's mother will be able to dry her tears with pieces of gold? Love that line. Then what do you expect me to... Lord Silva pushed his finger into the Duke's chest. Punish the ones responsible. But they were doing their duty. I can't punish them for that. If they were just doing their duty, then we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we? At a loss for words, the Duke looked down. Murderers are murderers. They should be treated as such. They will be punished. Good. Lord Silver leaned in close to the Duke's ear. He spoke for about a minute, quietly enough that the crowd couldn't hear. When he was done, he stepped back. The flames died down. Lord Silver gestured to the side with his chin, as if giving the Duke permission to leave. However, Duke Sufal stayed where he was standing. He was probably trying to save face after being manhandled by Lord Silver in front of the crowd. Running from the scene at the first opportunity would no doubt be the final nail in the coffin of Duke's rotting dignity. Lord Silver raised his eyebrow. A mixture between a smirk and a grimace darkened his face. When he turned to leave, the onlookers darted out of the way. Shizu nearly toppled over after being jostled by at least 6 elbows. After Lord Silver's departure, the crowd was quick to disperse. They don't want to give the Duke a chance to look around and memorize their faces. Shizu followed suit, although she took one last look at the Duke's face. She had never seen eyes like that before. A loud chime resounded throughout the garden. It rang 3 times, drawing the attention of the crowd. Has something happening? Not quite sure to do. Shizu joined the rest of the party attendees as they drifted into the direction of the castle. The crowd was gathered in front of the palace. 4 figures were standing on the terrace overlooking the attendees. The king stood in the center, the queen stood to his left, and Walsay and the princess stood to his right. Oh, so the bell was the king's summons. Is he going to do a toast to officially commence the gala, or something of the sort? I would like to take the chance to make an auspicious announcement while I have so many esteemed guests in attendance. Oh gosh. He gestured towards Say and the princess. She curtsied politely before hooking her arm around Say's. As you may all be aware, the princess and the hero have been growing quite close as of late. Oh, they're going to announce that they're getting married? Even though I am a king, I am also a father, and I wish for nothing but happiness for my only child. Despite the Lord's hero's humble background, his achievements in valor have proved to me that he is more than worthy a match for the princess. And so... Oh, blush. I formally give the Lord Hero my blessing to wed my daughter, Damiana Sanctuaris, crown princess of the kingdom of Actala. Come on, Shizu, you should have saw this from a mile away. What? Hushed whispers gushed from the crowd of onlookers, growing in volume as the king attempted to speak above them. Yo, if you're a Say simp right now, you're crying, you're crumpling. Of course, there are many arrangements to be made, but I hope that you will all join me in the celebration of this union. As if on cue, applause filled the air, and only stopped when the king put up a hand. After the king bowed, the 4 people on the balcony disappeared out of sight, and the whispers erupted in full-blown chatter. Shizu stood dumbly in the middle of the crowd. Every thought that sprouted from her brain slipped out. Her mind was completely empty. The hero and the princess, this is a surprise. Really? It's a perfect, sensible match, in my opinion. Well, you know. There's the ages, right? The hero was with her for such a long time. I heard that they grew up in the same town. I always just assumed they were engaged. This person has played the game. You jest. The hero is different from the rest of the common folk. He was chosen by the skies. And the hero wedding the pitch witch? We would have a higher likelihood of witnessing the marriage between a phoenix and a rat. The only real match for the hero is the princess. It makes sense, too, doesn't it? Now we know why the Skies didn't choose a member of the royal family to be the hero. The royal family was only blessed with a daughter, so the Skies chose a suitable man to be her partner and continue the royal bloodline. They're really, they're working to make this work. It's their OTP. That would certainly explain things. I thought that that the announcement was a little soon, but if they were always fated to be together, then he's getting married. I feel happy but conflicted. I'm happy for him, but is he really going to be happy living with the princess? And she felt a hollowness in her chest, a hollowness that she hadn't been trying to ignore for a very long time. It's happened. They're finally all gone. I'm alone. No! You're not! She ambled away from the front of the... I know why she feels that way, but... You're not! Away from the chattering crowd, the rest of the garden was emptier than before. Shizu drifted through the various sections, but she wasn't able to focus on the light displays of the greenery. Eventually, she started walking faster and faster. She hoped that the tangle of thoughts in her head would catch one of the tree branches and unravel on its own if she just walked fast enough. Oh. After climbing some stairs, she finally stopped, taking a breath to admire the garden below. Which? The caustic address sounded more like an insult than a greeting. Shizu raised her head, shaking out of her reverie. How did you get here so fast? I ran away! The princess stood there as she somehow looked even more luminous than normal, glowing like an apparition against the dark backdrop of the garden. I think I need to take a break because this part's getting a little bit long. Give me 1 second.